So he was having problems even before he was sent to that one, um, to Dodge Correctional. Accused Colorado killer Chris Watts is being held in a jail close watch unit so officers can keep an eye on him and monitor his behavior. So this was before he even got to um, Dodge Correctional. Um, Officer Francisco, and also we don't usually read or watch everything in their entirety. I stop and play for fair play use, and I put the link to everything that we look at down in the description. And I urge you to go and look at it on your own, and do your own research. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes only, and it's just my opinion. Officer Francisco Salcido confirmed to Radar Online exclusively Watts is being held under close watch in Weld County Jail, where jail wardens keep a close eye on inmates, but denied Watts is on a live watch. So he wasn't on that, but they were still keeping him in protective custody. And then this pops up, Radar Online. Unaliver Chris Watts transferred to Wisconsin prison, notorious for serial unalivers. And there's Ed Gein. Ed Gein is dead by now, right? I didn't Google it. I just thought for sure he was not there anymore. I thought he was gone. Um, Wife and child unaliver Chris Watts has been transferred to the infamous Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin, where he will rot behind bars with other notorious unalivers. Radar first reported earlier this week, and this article was published on July 13th, 2019. Reported earlier that Chris Watts was moved from his Colorado facility to Wisconsin for a security concerns. Now he will serve 5 life sentences alongside Chris Coleman, an Illinois man who was convicted of crimes eerily similar to those of Watts. The former bodyguard, there's a lot of them there then, isn't there? The former bodyguard to televangelist Joyce Meyer is serving a life sentencing. He did it for mistress too. I am working on a mistress video, and I think I might have to throw him in there now that I'm reading this. The former bodyguard to televangelist Joyce Meyer is serving a life sentence for unaliving his wife and 2 children to run off with his mistress, and the mistress was the wife's friend from school, I think. But that happened to me. My ex-husband had an affair with one of my friends, so I guess it's a story as old as whatever. Disturbing serial unaliver Ed Gein, who was the inspiration for Psycho character Norman Bates, also was an inmate at DCI before his 1984 death. In 1957, police discovered Gein's secret collection of human skulls and clothing made from other body parts. The sicko even made a suit from human skin. Watts was sentenced to a lifetime behind bars last month for unaliving his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 girls. He mercilessly dumped his daughter's bodies in a local oil tank and buried his wife in a shallow grave nearby. The Department of Correction is not confirming the location or disclosing the identity of inmates who may have been transferred to Wisconsin under the Interstate Corrections Compact. A spokesperson for the Wisconsin DOC told Radar Online in a statement, though the Wisconsin Department of Corrections would not confirm or deny Watts was transferred to DCI, the unaliver is included on the prison's commissary listings. So as we know, he's there. He's there. But But that must be why there's nothing to show us that he's there, because of the interstate compact. Now that I think about it, like, I don't remember seeing any footage of any prisoner being transferred to Dodge Correctional. I was like kind of comparing it how we saw footage of Lori Vallow being transferred over to Arizona, but really technically she's being transferred to a jail to go through another trial. So it's different. That's probably why we saw it. Miss Murdow says NK is somewhere holding your crystals up to the moon. Yeah. I'm a woo-woo girl too. I was out there holding my crystals up to the moon. Yeah, isn't that interesting? It didn't even, like, I remember hearing about this guy, and I know he did it for his girlfriend, the mistress, and I remember like noting that the mistress was, I think, the wife's friend, because of course, when things like that happen to you, you kind of like take a mental note, like, yes, and so I might have to look into it and do, like, because I'm doing Amber Fry and Nichol Kessinger, but I might have to add that mistress in too. Okay, keeping on. Let's keep going. I did see this before we go into watching it too. I thought this was interesting. Are you guys interested in finding out? Like, I'm always interested in like the nitty gritty details. And here is, jailbird Chris Watts pigging out on brownies, donuts, and cookies behind bars. Are you interested in seeing his commissary and what he's eating and things like that? Because if you are, I think we could like be friends. No, I'm just kidding, but not kidding. But I think that I could bring that to you if you are interested in that. Moving on, here we have hold on a second. Chris Watts' mistress reportedly writing to unaliving dad in prison. She needs to clear some things up, inmate reveals. So before we get into watching the final interrogation, or the interrogation he did before he gave the other thing to Sherilyn Cadle, his number 2 interrogation, number 3, I don't know. He thinks that Nichol Kessinger is writing him in prison. Do you think that NK is writing him in prison? Chris Watts' mistress reportedly writing to unaliving dad in prison. She needs to clear some things up, inmate reveals. Ooh, this is big. Hold on. Let me bring it down a little bit. Ooh, it's at 200%. Okay. After OK learned that convicted unaliver Chris Watts, who brutally put his hands around his pregnant wife Shanann's throat and took the air out of his children on August 13th, 2018, spends most of his time in prison writing to pen pals, most of whom are women. It has been reported that one of those corresponding with him is former mistress Nichol Kessinger. Watts and Kessinger met when they were both working for Anadarko Petroleum in June 2018, and started having an affair in July. Boy, this timeline of that same year. When they first started seeing each other, Chris lied to Kessinger about his current relationship status. Although Chris, in this interview, tells him that, Nikki is just saying things to make her feel better because she knew a lot more than she let on about the affair. Watts is currently in Dodge Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison in Waupun, Wisconsin, where fellow inmate David Carter revealed the killer. Dad is still in touch with the woman many believe he unalived his family for. 5 things the Chris Watts Kessinger, who changed her identity reportedly and moved away from Colorado reportedly after the murders, reportedly wrote to, or I should say allegedly, not even reportedly, allegedly, reportedly wrote to Watts under a fake name. Inmate Carter Dish that Watts told me she said that she needed to speak to him to clear some things up. He told the Daily Mail, adding he wouldn't tell me exactly what she said. Carter said Watts first told him he was communicating with someone he believed to be his former lover in September. When is this written? I don't see a date. Do you guys see the date? Let me see if it's down at the bottom. That's weird. There's no date. Well, I'm assuming this is probably in 2019 or 2020. Carter said Watts first told him he was communicating with someone he believed to be his former lover in September last year. Noting that once prison officials caught wind of the forbidden correspondence, they punished Watts by suspending his mail and began monitoring his incoming letters. He wasn't supposed to have any contact with her, but she initiated by writing to him, Carter spilled. As OK previously reported, Watts, we already did that. He's on the lowest social tier of the entire prison. He's in protective custody because he's around other inmates. Because if he's around other inmates, well, we know now this is outdated too, because he has a job, so he is around other criminals. But I do believe he's probably an outcast even among the criminals. Watts can reportedly go days without speaking to anyone. He's probably the most hated man in this prison. The source explained because he unalived children. There's a definite pecking order in jail, and someone who hurts or unalives kids is at the very bottom. I do remember watching Marcy Marie, who does on the prison rec yard, and she said that, like, I don't know if it's like different from prison to prison, but she was in Texas prison, and she said, like, after a while, people just stop talking about your crime. They just like get on with their daily life, and they don't have such a rough time that everyone says they do. So I don't know. There's a lot of information out there saying a lot of different stuff. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oof. All right. Is he fat yet? I don't know. We had the last new photo that we got. Latest photo we got was it in 23? I think it was January of 23. His parents released a photo of him with them, and he looks about the same. I guess no more grilled carrots and chicken breasts for Chris. So much for eating clean, right? That went out the door when Shanann wasn't there to make sure that his chicken and his eggs were peeled and ready for him in the refrigerator. That commissary will mess up CW's clean eating plan. Yes. Hey, girl, I missed half. No, actually, you just missed the very beginning. We haven't even gotten into it yet. I was just reading some articles before we watched. So you're right on time. Yes, right? Or we should say NK's eating plan for him. NK and Shanann kept him on track, didn't they? Yes, his macros that she programmed. Yes. Oh, yep, sitting cross-legged on a wet carpet. Uh-huh. It's making me laugh. And I need that. Thank you. All right, so you guys, we're going to get into it. We're going to watch this. We watched like the first 30 minutes of it. I will link the live down below, and when I'm able to, I will place a card like somewhere around here. It usually takes me a day to be able to do this kind of stuff. Because it processes for a day, but I will do that. We watched about the first 30 minutes, and it was basically just them coming in and saying hi to them. And then we're getting into the part where, oops, hold on a second, you guys. We're coming into the part where I've got too many things up. That's where we are. Okay. Let me make sure my volume's all the way up. We're coming into the part where it was all the niceties, and then he had talked about like he wished he had went to that game instead of going out with NK, and he felt like if he had done that, then his whole life would be different. And then Graham Coder says, okay, let's start talking about it. We're right about at that part, you guys. It's about, I'm going to take us a little bit back because I can't find the exact part, but we're at 36 minutes and 35 seconds. I do put it on 1.2 playback speed. I go into the chat with you guys. I won't talk over it. And here we go. Make sure you guys give this live a thumbs up. And if you like my content, be sure to subscribe and become a member. I actually put a post up for my members that I want you guys to see because I want to start planning a weekly members chat. And I need you guys to vote for me. So if you'll go over into the membership area, the post, I have a post up there for you with some dates and times. And if you could just pick something for me, and then we can start from there. We'll do the first chat. We'll talk about what we want to actually chat about during the chats, like what cases you want. If you want the Watts case, what parts of the Watts case you want, stuff like that. So that would help me out tremendously. And let me get this going. And here we go, you guys.
I climbed in bed. That was pretty much like on top, pretty much like straddling her. Okay. Just she thought I was gonna hurt her or baby or something. So because she knew that something had happened. She thought I was just trying to just check out or something. So then that's what happened.
I know it's hard, but do you mind if we talk to the tiny deeper about that? So she comes home. She touches you guys have sex. It seems like she's doing her test, which I understand. Sounds like you do too.
I'm sure, Nikki or something, Cole Atkinson or Cassie probably told her.
That's what I was thinking, right? They talked about it during that whole weekend.
More than like that. That's my parents told me there was going through text messages. It's all pretty much they all kind of just told her he's with somebody else.
Yeah, and she spent a lot of time with the gals. That's what they did probably all weekend is talk about it, give her advice. I think that's what we found, right? Yeah. Okay. So she comes home. You guys have sex. And then did you fall asleep between then and going to work?
Yes.
Okay. So then at some point, does she wake you up or did you wake up for work?
Not a lot of points.
Oh, okay. And you're going to work out. Mm-hmm. But then that's when she started wanted to talk more. She was pretty mad.
Yeah. It was, I had already kind of knew that, using that credit card is kind of.
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it.
Oh.
I used to, because I got Darko gift cards from doing good stuff at work and stuff like that. And I'd use them all.
Oh, what's part of me just like, screw it, whatever, I don't care. I'm using this card.
Part of me just wants to say, Nikki, can you pay for this? Right now, just I don't know.
Yeah.
Even I think my attorney said she even noticed I used a different card, like a blue card. Oh, maybe she thought, I felt comfortable enough just using on the bank account or something. But I told her I was going to Rocky. I told you guys.
Yeah.
She said, even it felt like like looking back at everything, like just like reading the scripture more and more now, I can see like, God gave me opportunities to get out. Like even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me because like it was his daughter that came and watch the kids on that Saturday night. And he was like, "Hey, December, we're going to a Rocky game. You want to go to me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals?" Like in my mind, it was like, go. Just say, "Hey, I can't find a babysitter."
Finicky.
Yeah. And maybe that would have been like, like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe it just like goes different directions. That was kind of like my last like opportunity to kind of get out of this game. So I wish I would have said, "Yeah, let's go." And I think that would have just put me on a different trajectory.
So then, Shanann, did she actually say you're never going to see the kids again?
She said it to me before.
Yeah. That'd be hard to hear.
Yeah, because she'd said to me before she went to Arizona. Because like I wasn't really sleeping in the bedroom, I was sleeping on the counter in the basement bed or something. Like she had slammed the door, "You're never gonna see the kids again." Someone,
Did she get fiery like?
only once in our entire relationship I've ever seen her that way.
Yeah. And that was a time before, or was that on the night that it happened?
No, it was back in North Carolina.
Oh.
It was just like one of those. It was just a fiery argument that I never raised my voice to her or anything. Like I just got mad and I slammed the door and she's like, "Oh," I'm like, should have slammed the door.
Was that when you were in North Carolina that last week?
No, it was like
Previous to
this
that?
was like 2010, 2011.
Oh.
It was like early. In her old house.
Before kids?
Yes.
Were you dating or were you married at that point?
What it was about, I think some girl maybe texted me like from my past or something, and like it was just like this, and she was like, "Don't have that happen again." And I'm just like, "I can't have friends, right? They're females. Like I don't even talk to this woman anymore."
Right.
And I was just like, "No."
Was she fiery? Did she have that Italian blood that her mom has?
Or yes.
Was she always like that, or was she? Did she snap at things?
She would snap at me, but you could tell like something really irked her a little bit.
Yeah.
It would come out.
0 to 100 type thing, or what?
Yeah, 0 to 200.
Oh, interesting.
She gets activated about something. She's like, "All right, it's gonna happen."
Well, that's why she was probably so successful at Thrive, right?
Oh yeah, like she had done a couple other like direct sales business, but this one was just like it was different.
Why?
This one like I think she had done like Origami Owl and like something called like It Works, and then like some other couple other things like some bags and stuff like that. The supplement stuff, but just because it worked with her, it worked with me. She's like, "Okay, I can kind of like use this as like, all right, this is what it's doing for us."
Yeah.
And then like after a little while, like she could see how like people are above her, how it was helping them, and then it was just like trickle down effect.
Mm.
And it was like a good system about like commission wise and everything was just she could use all the business IQ she has from running those cell phone shops and from dirty shop custom shops, all that. I mean, she's business minded. Yeah, she knows how to do accounting book like back of her hand. So it all just like fell into place with all that.
So then on that night, was it just a new type of fight?
It was
Never had, or what? What happened?
Yeah, it was a totally different type of fight. It was it was just felt like I don't know, it was more anger than anything else. Like there was emotion to it at first, and then it just felt like it was just anger. It was just like like there was no love there. It was kind of like what we were saying, what she was saying. It was just like it's almost like we knew like something was coming at each other. We didn't know like it wasn't ourselves.
Really?
No.
Anger from you or anger from her?
I think it was more anger from me and more like desperation from her because she wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
She knew something wasn't right. Like like when that whole thing with my parents happened with my parents called it Nutgate.
What's that?
The peanut.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with her family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pistachio ice cream or whatever.
Yeah, they people
Nutgate. I don't know.
I haven't heard that.
I've heard it.
Yeah, I guess what street we're calling it.
Okay.
But that was like another help. Like maybe I could have just like stopped everything with Nikki and just kind of concentrated on helping like whatever happened there. She had a story. My mom had a story. Whatever happened, I probably asked my 10-year-old nephew. Probably could tell me what actually happened.
Well, they both have their feelings for good reasons, and they both didn't see it the other person's way. And
Yeah, and like maybe I didn't talk to my parents from then on until like August 6th. And like my dad took that whole week off.
you didn't talk to your parents from then on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because like Janelle was like, "Do not talk to them. Do not call them. Do not do anything."
Is that what she said?
Yeah, and Cece's birthday was 17th, but I think the actual birthday party was like a couple days after.
In August?
July.
July.
Yeah. And like my mom, my dad was going to go, But then there was like a post on Facebook about, allergies and stuff like that she had made. And I was like, no, I just can't do it anymore. Just like, because
He perceived that as her taking a shot type thing.
yeah.
Okay.
She always says she never, put those posts directed at anybody, but she had a
If
method.
you read them, you know who it's talking about.
She had a method to the madness, and see it.
Mhm.
But as I wish I could have just took more time just to fix that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted my parents to be involved. Like since the whole wedding thing, and then up to that, it was like, my mom, my sister were always like combating with Shan, combating with them.
Mhm.
My dad was always cool. Like he's just like me. He's just like, go with the flow. Like I just want everybody to get along type deal.
Chicks,
I
man.
loved your dad.
Oh, he's the best.
Isn't he? I loved your dad.
I'm sorry, keep going.
That's I just wish I could have like just when we were in the beach in August. Like my dad was supposed to stay through the whole week off just so we could see the kids, and, like see me, like we have a cookout at my sister's house or something. And then, but we just pretty much spent 5 days at the beach, and she ended up like booked it. So like, I mean, it's I don't want to say like punishment for them not to see the kids, but like I wanted them to see it, see them. I wish I could have fixed all that. And I even like when I was at the beach, I told Shanann that it was more like what was going on was more like I feel like my dad's not here. I feel like I've lost like something in my life. I haven't talked to them for 3 weeks, and I haven't seen the kids for 2 weeks, on FaceTime or anything.
Mm.
And I wanted them to be able to have that relationship. And she was pretty much gung ho, like she tried to kill my daughter by giving her. I was like, I don't think she gave it to her. But
And that was that her stance? Is that your mom
put something in front of CC.
Like to kill her or
No,
to-
it's like
didn't care?
like
Didn't pay attention.
she thinks that allergies and like this state of the page is like people think, oh,
like it's made up
like,
kind of
okay,
thing.
he'll be fine. He'll just have a rash. He'll be fine. I've seen CC, like the first time, seen a picture when he had a cashew the first time. It wasn't good. And then she had kiwi the second time, and then the same thing happened. And I know it's real.
So you know it's serious, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't like her throat like closed up, but she broke out in this full body rash. It looked really crazy looking, and luckily, like nothing with her throat like happened. But
So did that make you angry at your mom for doing that?
yeah, I mean, I just like, no, I told her you need to think, you need to like, pay attention. Just because another kid can have something doesn't mean another kid can have something. Because like when we were at that birthday party at Jeremy's that Sunday, they had this cake there. Like Bella wanted it so bad. I'm like, can't give it to her because she can't have it. She was like, okay. And all the other kids were like, they can't have the cake. Like I just kind of took them off and gave them some like one of those frozen pops or something. But it's just like she had to learn that just because one kid can have something, there's another kid that can't have it for a legitimate reason. Like she couldn't have done it, but that's the kind of talk I had with her when Shannon called me. I think it was maybe like middle of July or something when she told me all this had happened.
Mhm.
That's when I called my mom and talked to them for a while, and then they're just like, they just couldn't deal with her anymore. Shannon just kind of like, they like flipped out. My nephew told Bella to go hide behind the curtain because I don't think your mom was going to let you come over here again or something like that.
Oh.
So it got heated.
Oh, it was bad.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a last straw between them, I think.
Like in the same room or over the phone?
No, they were at the house.
They were, and so they were
my
really
mom's house. Yeah, because CC and Bella and my niece and nephew were there
okay.
How did Shanann find out about the ice cream thing?
because Chanel was there, and I guess they were all sitting. One was couch was kind of like a U, and my niece went into the kitchen and she knew where the ice cream was.
Oh.
There.
So it's not like your mom gave it to her? Like she got her own?
She went in the freezer, got it, went out and stopped beside CC and started eating. But like it's just a matter of like CC could go like
Right.
like that. I don't know what would happen if she just got it on her hand.
Right.
But like I know on like the prick test,
Mhm.
on the back, it's like a welt.
So were they staying there at your parents' house during that time? 'Cause-
Yeah, it was so they would go from my from Sandy and Frank's house
Yeah.
for like a few days or 5 days, and then go to my mom and dad's house for a couple of days. Back and forth.
So it happened during that time. You were there, yeah. Okay.
So there were so many things that happened, weren't there? There just were little tiny ingredients to this recipe.
Yeah, nothing like
And that's Chris. I mean, it's just so many things just didn't go your way.
everything was like somebody was stirring a pot and it was just
That's exactly what it looked like. So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shanann died?
it was pretty much just like I had gotten dressed for work and then like we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
Yeah. So I was just like I got my blue shirt on, my jeans and everything. I was ready to go and
Was she asleep or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation? Or
wake her up because like she got on like 2 o'clock, so she pretty much out of it. But I never knew like if you're playing got delayed. Someone always told me like she just like sat around with Nicole, just like talked for a while and then came home or something. I'm not sure if that was
It was delayed.
Yeah. But yeah, when she came home and everything, but yeah, like I woke her up to talk to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is that because it was just eating at your
Yeah, like I knew like, you know, something like it's something just felt right with me. So I know like she knew. I just knew she knew. I just felt like maybe the kids weren't gonna be there when I got home that day.
Oh, interesting. Now, I don't mean to offend, but I have to ask, is that really the truth? Okay.
I really felt like they weren't gonna be there when I got home that day.
Oh. And
Like she would take them somewhere?
No,
Or-
I just felt like either maybe I wouldn't go home, maybe they weren't gonna be there, or I wouldn't be allowed in. Type thing.
I think I saw some text messages where Shannon talked about that she would take the kids to another state or something because she wouldn't be able to afford to live in Colorado or something. Did she say that kind of stuff to you, or
Yeah.
what did she say about that?
She said she couldn't afford to live in Colorado on her own. And that I told her like, well, if you try it, which pretty much makes the same amount I do.
Yeah.
But she said she wouldn't want to try just because, you know, Colorado just the price of living there was a lot higher than North Carolina.
And just so I'm clear, you thought maybe she in your mind you thought maybe she would take the kids somewhere else or like lock you out of the house or
Or just like, you know, I wouldn't want to make a scene like, you know, trying like, I don't know, or trying to get in or anything like that. But, like,
Mhm.
I just felt like, you know, that was what I did on Sunday. You know, it was kind of like, or Saturday night was kind of like the last straw. Kind of like going out with somebody and she had a account card and just like not trying. I don't.
So walk me through it though, because she comes home, she touches you, you guys have sex, you fall asleep, and you wake up for work, all natural, all, you know, a normal day's work type thing.
Yeah.
What was it that made you think, I just can't do this anymore? I have to talk to her.
I was eating away at me. Like I knew like something, I knew everything that I did. Like I know like when I was with Nikki, it was, you know, different. Like I wasn't even like in the realm of I'm a dad, I'm a husband type thing.
Oh,
And then like I was saying, when I'm never at home, like sleeping in my own bed, like I have no like concept of that anymore.
interesting. So in your mind and heart, you didn't have moved on.
Like it kind of felt like if I wasn't at home, like I didn't think about it almost. But like if I wasn't sleeping on my own, but like I think there was at one point, like Nikki had gone to the mountains with her friends for like a few days, like into June, first part of July. And then like, you know, that part, you know, obviously I'm home. But like from that whole month of July on, it was like I was never at home.
Mm.
Like I never had all those reminders around me. I never had, you know, like every time my wife called me, I would be at Nikki's house.
Oh, while she was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would like, you know, walk outside and talk to her, like when I was next to the car or something like that. I would never be at home looking like have all these pictures around me and just being in the same bed, you know, seeing my kid bed, seeing everything that we go for the last 6 years.
And so did you just want to once and for all get it out in the open?
I just wanted to just tell her how I was feeling at that point in time. Like I didn't feel like me and her were compatible anymore. Honestly, I didn't feel like that because what was going on with Nikki, it was new. It was new.
Right. Absolutely.
Anything that's new always feels better than the old.
Yes.
you were probably bitten by the love bug.
Yeah,
That's how a lot of therapists-
unfortunately, yeah, it was just like I never felt that. I mean, even like with new relationships in the past, like it always felt different. Like, you know, the first couple of weeks, and then, you know, but it just with someone Nikki felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like you said, like, you know, I was more in control, and like it was more of like maybe more of me coming out. Because Nan always said like it always seemed I was more myself around other people. Like, you know, her cousin Cody, like, you know, like Cody lived or came up visited us for a little bit while we were in Colorado for a little while, and Cody always talked about like, oh, Chris is so funny. Chris is like, Shannon would always like, oh, you never like that with me. It's like, well, maybe I always felt nervous around you.
There's only so much oxygen in the room, right? I say this to some people with dominant personalities, you know?
I just always felt nervous. I always felt like I was, you know, never could actually just be myself.
Right.
Nikki, I was myself like all the time. It was just different.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, hard to talk about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say that sexually you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I'm into, or blah, 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 and maybe not with Shannon?
No, Nikki just wanted, I mean, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. I was like, okay, that's fine with me. You know,
Okay.
You know, with Shannon, it was like, I'm like, hey, sometimes it happens, sometimes it didn't, but that wasn't the case as far as that way. It was just like sexual, but
Okay.
it was me. I was just want myself, like you know, just not think about what I was going to say or plan what I was going to say or not, you know, say something stupid or something.
Right.
A little bit of freedom.
Can I ask you something about that morning that you had sex with Shanann? Did you feel at all like maybe you were kind of cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, you know, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. First time, like,
Sure.
and then the last time I was with Shannon, I felt totally strange. I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. I felt like I had become people I see on TV, and that did not feel right with me. like I didn't know what had happened to me. So Nikki even asked me like, have you done this before? Have you go straight away? I'm like, I've never even thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like, yes, it's just you that's different because I just never actually like I've seen girls smile at me before, never done anything about it. But her, it was just like she had a leash on me and she tugged me away. As soon as she walked, I'm like, the heck, hell is going on? So,
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last time with Shanann having sex had a somewhat of a role in you thinking,
like a trigger.
I got to do something, I got to say something, we got to have a talk, something's got to change. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I just felt like it was like maybe like a trigger point or something like you hit the push button on a bomb, it just blows up.
Right.
Something in my head was just like something, just something was hurt. Just like I had to say something.
Okay. So then, exactly what did you say and what happened?
So when I woke her up, and it's like, hey, we just gotta talk.
Okay.
And it's like I told her, I don't feel compatible. I don't feel like this is gonna work. I just, I don't want to. Like, can we cancel a trip to Aspen? Because she booked a trip that week to go to some like mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Was the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had Amanda Bayer and watch the case that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something like the? From what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh,
But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. The conversation went so many different ways. Like they'd gone from like staying together to not staying together to just like all the above.
okay. So this is half an hour what?
Definitely not more than that.
Okay.
I don't think.
Are you crying? Is he crying?
Or it's like, she's got, mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on still, so mascara was running all over her and stuff like that. And it was nothing about that conversation. I just wish I could take all of it back. Just the whole everything back, everything. But
So then when did it turn?
as far as that conversation, just at the end when I was telling her like I told her I didn't love her anymore. That's when happened.
What happened?
Something get off her and I put my hand on her.
Did you say she said something like you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that. Because like when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Why did you get on her like that?
I just when we got on the bed, that's just where I got on.
Is that so she would listen to you?
I felt like she could probably listen to me just laying beside her, but I got on top of her. And every time I think about it, I'm just like, did I know I was going to do that before I got on top of her?
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you do.
Just like everything that happened that morning, I don't know, like I try to go back in my head. I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did it. Everything just kind of like,
Felt like you had to?
it just felt like it was, I don't even want to say it felt like it had to. It just felt like there was already something in my mind that was implanted that I was going to do it. And I woke up that morning, it was going to happen and I had no control of it.
You never thought about it before?
It was just like, I don't want, just like in the sentencing hearing that prosecutor said it takes 2 to 4 minutes, something like that to happen. Like, why can't I just let go? I didn't.
Oh, it's interesting.
I just like,
Was it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she looked back at me, honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing?
Wasn't fighting.
Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
I don't know, it's, maybe she was praying, maybe she was just. I read the Bible and said, where the scripture says, don't forgive these people for they do not know what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was saying that. I don't know what she was saying in her head, but she, like when you guys told me, like, take off your shirt and step check for defensive wounds, and there wasn't going to be any. She didn't fight. I don't know why.
If she didn't could she grab your arms or were her arms pinned down or?
I don't think so. I don't think like I moved to where my knees are around her arms or anything. It's just kind of like when I got on top of her, we started talking. That was it. It's kind of like in my head, or like in the back of my head, that was going to happen. And just like at the end of the conversation, it was just like, that's what happened. I just wish I could have let go.
Did it seem like it was that long? 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
It almost kind of felt like it was longer almost because it felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you from not letting go.
some point there was a statement about rage. Do you feel like you're in a rage at that point? How
That's
does
the only way I can describe it, honestly. Like a snap, something. I know. I guess my attorney had said like some, strangulation is more of like a, I don't know, passionate type thing. I'm just like, I don't know how that could be passionate.
It's just intimate because you're right in there,
yeah.
using your own hands. It's a lot different than someone standing across the room and you shooting them or something like that. So
It just felt like somebody was like behind me, just like, I just couldn't let go.
It's interesting to me because there was a lot of things in your life that were like that, right? Where you're just like maybe felt out of control, or maybe felt like I don't know why I couldn't take a step back, or like even when you said when your buddy was like sort of football game, you wanted to say yes, you could.
Yeah, I wanted to. Like I never been. I've been to a football game since North Carolina, so I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
I wanted to just text it. Yeah, no, it fell through. Can't go.
So then what?
Just but just after Shanann was, I guess, once she was gone, it was just like I didn't know what was going on. It's like there was like a traumatic, I don't know what you call it, traumatic event type and everything, and like I was shaking. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I had done. I still wasn't in that right state of mind. I don't think like I was in control of what I could think or what I could do at that point in time. And most people say like, well, I just called 911. I'm just like, unless you're in that situation,
You don't know.
We don't know what you would have done. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback.
mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Like I said, if somebody shoots somebody, you don't know what they're going to do in mind at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you'd have done.
So what happened next?
Well, it came in,
So what happened? Don't even. What she said?
well, fine.
Did she hear something? Is that what she told you?
Obviously, I think.
What'd you tell her?
Somebody don't feel good.
And then, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
Not in front of her.
What happened?
She walked in as what you talking about? She was sleeping.
Did you take her back to her room?
But she had in that sheet and found it's like
Okay. And what?
carried her downstairs. Back my truck up.
At that point, were the girls still there? Okay. So then she lands in the truck. Then you went back to the house.
We got everybody out in the truck.
Was Bella first or was Cece first?
And the truck.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Shanann was first, and then Bella was next. Was Bella alive when you guys got in the truck? Oh, okay. What happened?
I went back up.
Okay.
I don't really want to talk. It's not this part, honestly. Those are my kids. It's my baby. I'm just talking about night. Helps you.
Okay.
Every time I see pictures of them, no house. Being a dad was the best part of my life. I took it all away.
I think that's the hardest part for us, Chris, is we see those videos, we see that love that you had for your girls. Like, it's obvious to us. And even to us, it's hard for us to understand how a dad who's given piggyback rides and, making snacks and watching princess movies and those kinds of things, how you get to that point,
Like I said, it was just like something else was controlling me that day. I had no control over what I was like to fight back.
Yeah.
Like when that prosecutor said it, Bella bit her tongue, like repeatedly. I just wanted to bang my head up against the wall.
So you put Shanann in the truck and then you put the two girls in the truck? Were they just sitting in their car seats or I guess they didn't probably have car seats in your truck, did they?
So sitting in the back with in that bench sheet
So Shanann was back there too?
on the floor.
What did they say about Shanann being on the floor?
Mommy, okay?
What'd you tell them?
She'll be fine.
Did you have their stuff with them, with their toys and their blankets and stuff?
They had something with them that they carried. One of them, I think CCM had like a blanket or something with them,
Mm-hmm.
like a pink blanket or
What about the dog? I think one of them had a dog, right? The talked or dog.
yeah, one of them had like a little barking dog.
Was that with you too? Do you know?
I think it was. Trying to it's hard to remember. Like if
Yeah.
they had like big blanket, small blanket.
So I think I saw on the video that you put a gas can or something in the back of your truck. Is that right? Did you have different plans?
I
Where'd you put that in there?
don't know what was going through my head. I feel like maybe I could just get rid of myself at the same time if I was doing all this, honestly.
Yeah.
You should think about that.
What'd you think about that?
I didn't feel like I deserved to live after what happened.
Was there any thought to the whole family going away that day, to include you?
After everything happened, that's a definite thought.
See, it's interesting to me. And we had all kind of wondered if there was a point when you were all together, and you were all going to pass together. That to me makes sense, because that's, even though it sounds crazy, that's what a family man does, right?
Family man doesn't do what he did.
No, I know. I guess what I mean is, it seems like you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that maybe what going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I didn't deserve to live.
Yeah.
I know it's like whatever judgment I was gonna come upon myself, I just didn't deserve to be on this earth anymore.
Mhm.
What happened?
So what made you not do that? You think?
I don't know if it was just more of like because with the site, maybe it was just more of like I would have hurt more people than just me and everybody else. But I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area. Like I didn't want something like on the site to catch fire and blow up, and then other people around would get hurt. The same.
So you were thinking initially about starting a fire out there or an explosion or something, or
Just no, not for that. Just like maybe I could just take care of myself.
Oh,
When you ask me, that's the only thing you do. I mean, I don't have a gun. I don't have anything like that. I don't like just commit suicide that way. But it's just,
blow yourself up.
I mean, it was just, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have weapons. I've never hunted before in my life. I don't know what. I mean, nothing was right that morning.
I remember you kept telling me that. You kept saying, "I didn't know what I was doing, Tammy. I didn't know." Like,
Yeah, when you asked
I
about
remember-
the sheet, like, what were you doing? Like, I don't know what I was.
Yeah. I think you were just like in automatic mode, or it seemed like. So did you drive straight out there? So what were you thinking on the way out there?
I was kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, nervous, shaking, not knowing, like, what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I know, like my life is completely changed. I don't know, like what's happening. Like honestly, like I try to picture that whole ride. Like it's like 45 minutes to an hour ride out there, and it's just like, couldn't I have like saved my girl's life? Couldn't I have done something? Why did I do? I don't know.
Right.
Like this is my flesh and blood. This is like what I wanted all my life, was to be a dad, just to have kids, and they love me. They all that, and it just nothing made sense.
Right.
Like the oil tank, nothing made sense. I'm just like, what the doing?
Mm-hmm. So what happened when you got out there?
I took Shanann out just to a place off to the site,
Mm-hmm.
and then
What were the girls doing when you were doing that?
just sent them back to Shrub.
And then what happened after that?
CC was first. She did have a blanket. She had a blue blanket. A Yankee blanket.
So was she alive when she went into the oil tank? No.
I put the blanket over her head.
Then that's how she passed. Good grief.
I put the blanket over her head. I didn't want to. No, strangled her right there in the backseat.
What was Bella doing?
Minutes later,
Did she understand? Did she know what was going on?
didn't say anything.
And then the same for Bella. Just without a blanket.
Blanked her.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. It's like every time I closed my eyes, I started to hear her say, "Daddy, no," and that was it.
That's what Bella said.
And hear that every day.
You go. Sorry, man.
You know, sorry doesn't take anything back. I did.
I know. Is it possible that in your mind you didn't want them to suffer throughout their life? Was this like a mercy thing?
I mean, you could say that like after the fact, but it was just like I don't.
You didn't feel like that during it?
I just didn't. It felt like it was just like an anger with Shanann, with everything that I was just taking it out on everybody that was in front of me that morning.
Yeah.
I mean, kids growing up without their parents, I mean, depending on what grandparents or whoever they grew up with, seemed to be fine. But it was just like it was an anger thing. It was just like
And what were you so angry at Shanann about? Like, if you could pinpoint it.
nothing that makes anybody to want to do this. I mean, you could be angry at your spouse like your whole life, but you should never have done anything like this. You should never let it get to that point. But I let it get to a point where I've never been angry before. Like, and this was like the epitome of being angry.
Yeah.
The epitome of like showing a rage, the epitome of like losing your mind. I mean, even like some people in here said, "They're like, the heck happened?" It was freaking snapped. And, like, just walk away. It's like, I don't see it in my mind how it could, like, I look outside every day and like, what could we be doing right now? Yeah, right now I'd have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and what might be a 1-month-old son. They're a beautiful wife. But just like right now, it's just me.
I watched that video of you finding out that Shanann was pregnant. Don't seem excited. You seem like kind of in shock.
Scared.
And yeah, like, oh fuck. Like,
Well,
it's already complicated and now this.
Well, it's like when we had talked about it, like a couple weeks, it happened fast. Like with Bella, it was like we almost gave up
Mhm.
trying. And she bought me like a supercharger for my car. And then with CC, it was like we had to try. And then finally, but with Nico, it was, once or twice, and then like 2 weeks later, she's pregnant.
Is that what happened?
Yes. It's just like it was more like surprise, scared. I'm like, wait, what? Like we just talked about this, like And then people have brought up the fact like, oh, she was probably pregnant before, like you guys can talk about it. I was like, it's not, no.
Huh.
So like it was insanely fast. I give it that. Like that's the only reason I ever gave that notion. Like even the moment I thought to it was like faster than any other time that she'd gotten.
You just didn't seem happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And I haven't I don't remember the video much. I know she was wearing like a "Oops, we did it again" shirt, I think, and I was walking up my cooler or something. And I don't remember like my actual reaction, like watching the video, but like I could see her probably see like didn't seem like he was jumping for joy type thing.
yeah, it didn't seem like that.
Did you watch the one of when I found out about CC?
Oh,
No, okay.
is it totally different?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Because Bella was in the crib and it had an eviction notice on the.
Oh, yeah, I think you told me about it. Yeah, I never saw it though.
Yeah, I picked up Bella and spun her around and whatnot. This time it was just me and Shanann, and she was in the kitchen. I don't know, I don't forget what date it was. Maybe like June 3rd or 5th or 7th. I'm not sure like what date it was in the video, but maybe I already felt guilty about talking to Nikki at work.
Yeah.
Maybe that was going through my head.
Is that the potential timing? Does that make sense? Okay.
I don't remember the video, what date the video was, but I knew I kind of met Nikki around like June 1st. I knew she told me afterwards.
When you say you met her, you mean like went on a date with her?
No, I didn't went on a date with her until she was in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Just like flirting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was natural flirting back and forth, and I was just like, I knew that with that video timing, I probably just looked like I was felt guilty for even talking to at work.
You probably did, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys fight before, you and Shanann? I know you talked about not really raising your voice and stuff. Was there Because I want to say, didn't the neighbor talk about them fighting and stuff?
Yeah, but that was embellished and exaggerated, and he retracted that.
Oh, he ended up doing
Yeah.
that. Did you guys ever fight? Did you ever? Was there any domestic violence in your house? Like,
Oh, I never.
this is strange to us.
Even from her to you, I mean,
Yeah,
she gets mad when she's pregnant and grabs a knife or
You know, like
smacks you or smacks you around or nothing.
no, she's never like nothing.
Okay.
That's what makes all this even more hard to understand from my standpoint. From yours too.
Did she ever belittle you at all? Did you ever feel that way? Maybe.
Well, that
Did she ever make you feel like she belittled you, or you felt belittled by her?
I mean, there's always points like in a marriage where like the dominant person like takes control of everything. But like, I was my whole life I just kind of went with the flow. Like I never like put myself in the center of attention. I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be in the back row.
Mhm.
So I mean, if she did belittle me, I couldn't pick that exact point or time.
She never really felt that way.
No, I mean, I always knew I was like, the introvert, and she was she took control of most situations. Like when people came over, like, I knew what my role was.
Yeah.
like I watch videos of like cooking, or she'd make like powder balls, or or like protein balls.
Yeah.
You just don't seem like you want to be in those videos.
No.
Like I feel like you were being forced to be in those videos. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah,
that's what it seemed like to me.
I hated being in I mean, I did it because for her, because
Right.
it's for her business and
Sure.
stuff, but like it was, I hated just being out
Yeah.
for everybody to see. That's why like the whole like the gender reveal thing, I was just like, I didn't want it to be like some live Facebook video. I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
But like I never wanted to be out there. But I know I'm like,
Well, even when we talk about this a lot, Tammy and I, Dave, even when it was, I think it was Florida on some Lavelle or Thrive thing. And she's like, here we are. And it's all expenses paid. And
I was like,
I remember looking at you and thinking like, he is not into this video right now.
No, you don't look into any of the videos, I'll be honest with you.
I wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
yeah, I think
I mean, I remember you talking about like she would even post stuff for you. Like
Oh, yeah.
you're technically a salesman too of
yeah, I was-
Lavelle, of
yeah,
Thrive.
like she put me underneath her, not like anything, like any of my friends or stuff, like anything I do would help her.
Right.
So it was just, I would send her pictures. Like I should take a picture with your patch. I'm like, okay, send it to her, and then she'd make a post about it. She was like, I need to take more control over like your business and stuff. I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about.
Right.
Like if I want to talk to somebody at the mall or at the pool or somebody about this, I just stumble all over my words and just like, they'd be like, okay, bye. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a salesman. Jesus. I mean, she could sell everything you're wearing back to you.
Right.
And you wouldn't even know it. Like, wait, I just paid
right.
I paid $20 for it. Yeah, it's those videos were not me. I did it just to support her. Like she always say, "Oh,
Could you tell her no? Could you say, I don't want to be in that video? Or was that an option?
probably not knowledge. I mean, it's like, she would have been like, oh, what is this to, help our family? This is for, to help this and that, so I couldn't have told her no. I mean, they would have made her mad. I would like, no. I wouldn't even start that. It's because it's for the business, it's for the family. I was just going to try to help out wherever I can.
Right.
Did that actually make money?
Mhm.
So not only just more sales, but it actually put money in your guys' pocket.
And she made probably in that last year, probably as much as I did.
On commissions, basically. I mean, I know that's a simplified version of it, but
Yep. I mean, it's they
And
don't take taxes out on it, so
right.
So that was like the good thing. I mean, they pay for your car.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did they give you an allowance or something to buy a car?
yeah, if you
Lease it.
if you're a certain level, like a 12K or above, they give you a car allowance once a month. I'm not sure how they make money. The owners doing that, but they did.
Yeah.
Unless there's just like an insane markup on the product, which I guess there is.
Probably
I'm
that's it.
not sure how much it costs them to make it.
Did you feel like a different person wearing those patches?
Especially like the Duo, the Burn. I mean, it felt. I mean, like the Apple Watches. Like if you look on it, like when it tells you to exercise, it says I was exercising like all day. My heart rate would like up
Oh,
just from those patches.
Was it full of caffeine or what?
They just have something. They had something in them. I mean, the black label ones, the longer black ones, those had caffeine in them, but it never had that effect. I mean, the Duo Burn ones, the ones that are more like the fat loss type, it felt like I was working out all day, even though I wasn't.
Oh, were you tired?
I mean, I know at some points, even Nikki said that, like, I'd fall asleep on the couch, on her couch while I was talking to her, and then like pick back up like I never knew I fell asleep, which I don't know if it was like some insomnia thing or what, but like I wasn't sleeping.
you had a lot going on then.
Yeah, those are the only patches I really felt like I'm real big difference on, just because it felt like I'm working out all day.
Mm-hmm. You don't feel like they changed your personality or anything like that, though, or do you?
I don't really know. I know that I just felt different on those than any other batch. It was feel like I could just go longer and longer each day.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure like if that was probably a bad thing. Because I don't think I was probably staying more 3 hours a night.
So would you stay at when Shannon was gone? Would you stay with Nikki and then go home for like to get ready? What?
Yeah, I just wake up at like 4:30, go home and get ready for work and leave. And then just work out when I got back home.
Mhm.
What were the conversations with Nikki as far as at some point you guys were talking about her helping you find an apartment? So what did you guys talk about as far as your future together?
That didn't really happen until like I got back from the beach. So I told her like I lied to her like, hey, like I don't like I talked to Shannon about getting a separation.
And that talk hadn't happened yet.
No, I mean it kind of like I mean, she knew something was going on. I think. I mean, we weren't sleeping in the same room, and then she she even mentioned the fact like, hey, Colorado's 50-50 state or something like that. And okay, I guess you looked it up. But that actual talk, I was just like, I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah. And so in conversations with Nikki, I get it. I mean, if you're telling her like the progress toward the divorce is a little bit more than it was.
Mhm.
And then so what were you guys planning?
So it was more of like she's gonna help find an apartment that was affordable. This is kind of just around like Brighton or maybe just close to work, like for Lupton or something around there. That's kind of like where my area was.
Did you talk about moving in with her?
She didn't want that.
She didn't want that. Would you have done that if she would have been cool with that?
That didn't a little too soon. I would have thought there's just we'd only been really seeing each other like almost like a month, or they just talking about 2 months. So I wouldn't really. But she called her house like her apartment like her, I don't know, like her kind of like a shield or kind of like her. She had another word for it, but
Like her safe place?
yeah, like a safe place or something like that. And she would like people like to invade it, but that's why she always let me come over because she said she felt like that was fine, like her dog liked me and everything. Like she would say, just ship people along here type thing. Like, oh, okay.
So you and Shannon, did you and talk about selling the house? At what point did you? There was some discussion there with shows and
Yeah, she had sent an email to Ann about like how we would go about like selling the house.
yeah.
And I think Ann told her about get like Ann was always about getting pre-approved. Just like like if you're going to sell your house, get pre-approved for like another house, so it's like much faster.
Yeah, so you can just quickly transition from one to the other. When did that happen? Remember?
I think it was either right before we left. No, that happened to been like first week of August, somewhere around there. I think she might have contacted her.
So the plan was maybe to buy a house. I think you told me in Brighton, you think about buying a house in Brighton.
Yeah, just like she liked that Adams 12 school system or something.
Yeah.
So okay. I think that's what Brighton is asking.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about when you called the school that day on Monday?
I was freaking out. I didn't know, like I was thinking in my head, like what I just did, what I just done, and I didn't know, like it was stupid to do anything. To call school, to call Ann, to call anybody. I mean, they were right to be, suspicious about anything. Look, 'cause I knew I probably sounded eccentric on the phone and out of sorts, and just, I can only. I don't even know what they were thinking. They heard me.
I think they thought I was weird, but I don't know how you would not sound weird, like you said.
So are you 100% sure the girls were still around and alive when you drove out? Okay. So that's completely accurate. There's nothing else about that.
They got in the truck.
Okay.
Where did the blanket go?
It's probably in the trash can or something. I think.
In the trash?
It wasn't like it was still in my truck.
Okay. We thought we saw some GPS where you would stop by near a construction a roll-off dumpster. Is that true, or?
I think that's like I dumped my clothes in there.
So that would have been on the way back to the house.
My neighborhood.
Yeah. When Officer Kunab was there. Okay. Was it one of those red construction dumpsters?
More than likely.
Did you pack new clothes? How did that work?
I already have some in there because, like, in case we have like a spill or something.
Oh.
If you ever get crude oil on you, Yeah, I had like 2 pairs of boots, all kinds of different stuff in there, just because like. Just one time I had to pick up a spill and I had defrost on, and I had like a headache for like 2 weeks because like the crude oil that comes. So I always have something in there.
So where did you keep them after you took them off? Like, did you just change out there into your new other?
So like I dump my clothes in that dumpster.
But that wasn't that on the way back when you were coming. Like you'd already worked the whole day.
Yeah.
Right?
I worked like till like 11 or so.
Yeah. So that was back when Nichol Kessinger.
Yeah, when she was
Yeah, when she-
at my house, tipping the doorbell, that's what I do. Someone out at the house.
Right.
Did you think right then, like, oh fuck, like here we go, or what were you thinking?
I didn't know why she was there. I was like, I didn't know, like maybe she had an appointment or something with Shanann. I didn't know.
What did you think like that day? Like what you were gonna say? Like what was your plan? Were you just gonna go home and be like, report to the police that your family's gone, or
Once I had no idea what was going to happen. Like after everything, I mean, I don't even know how I was even acting even normal to people that I was around. Because when like Troy and Cody and Chad and Melissa and all them, like, when they showed up on the site, I don't even know how I was even being somewhat even hearing what I was saying, but apparently they understood me. So I didn't know what was going to happen. Like I said, this wasn't like something like some criminal minds type.
like well thought out?
Yeah, it wasn't nothing like that.
You're just minute by minute at that point.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on.
So once the girls were gone, was it also just a minute by minute thing as far as the oil tanks?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I just thinking about an oil tank just makes me want to throw up.
And was that just because it was in front of you and there it was and just presented itself? It wasn't a plan beforehand? Okay. Was there any reason why the separate ones?
No, it's just like you said, it was like a going up, just going upstairs, and it didn't. No, like what Frank said is like I was trying to separate everybody. That's not.
No.
No, I didn't want to separate anybody.
What was the reason?
I can't even tell you. It's like I said, like something else was in control of what I was doing, and it was like I was doing something I never thought I would ever do in my life.
Did you think there would be less chance of someone finding them if they were in separate tanks, or
Sounds like a little.
No, I didn't. Whatever my reasoning was in my head that day, it was what sound, it was nothing was right.
And you don't even remember thinking about it.
No, it was just like a reaction of something that I wasn't even thinking about.
Can we talk about the trash bags? Do you remember that?
Oh,
There were two.
okay. Yeah, I was trying to, because like this sheet kept. I didn't want to, like when I was putting there's one for here. I guess the thing I had, like I didn't want the girls looking at Shanann while they were in the back seat.
so what'd you do?
Put a trash bag on one end and on her feet and on her head, so they didn't have to see.
And they were just too little to kind of figure out, right?
They-
That's good.
I just know, like when I was driving up there, I mean, they were just, sitting there, just, kind of asleep or kind of just like, holding on to each other, laying in each other's laps. I did.
You remember having any thoughts or thinking about why not just putting them all together with Shanann?
Honestly, it was just happening so fast. I had no time to really thought that was my own.
Okay.
That wasn't like dutifully trying to separate anybody passing away, trying to keep anybody separate. And everything, Frank, Sandy, and Frankie said, like I don't hold it against them. I mean, they can hate me for, they have a right to hate me for the rest of their lives.
They don't.
They don't. In fact, slower on the subject. I speak with them weekly, and I told them that we were going to come here, and then hopefully would speak with us. And they told me to tell you, understandably, they're devastated, but they actually said that they love you. They still love you, and Sandy explained it. He's our son-in-law for 8 years. I can't just turn that off. So they don't hate you. They don't.
That's amazing to hear that.
Yeah, well, and I can tell you, Sandy was the one that was most resistant to penalties in this case. And she told me that from the very beginning. That she didn't want that. It's God's decision. It's not her decision. And then she told me that even then. So it's not just a one-time thing that she has said it to me. It's been over the whole course of the event. So that's probably one of the most honest things someone's ever told me. So it's pretty amazing. Faith is. She's obviously a believer. So am I. I get it. So I understand it.
That's amazing to hear that.
Yeah. Good people.
I would have figured they would have hated me for.
They don't. I mean, yeah, anybody would think that. I certainly would have, but I have to admit I was surprised, really taken back by that. But they certainly don't. So.
What did they say when they knew you were coming out here?
They said they want to know details because they need closure, and that's really all they want, and they want to keep it private. And I said, well, absolutely. We'll talk to them about what you told us, and just so they can put it past them because they're having a hard time dealing with it and trying to get past it all. And I think that may help just to know.
Closures, I mean, my parents still think, like I told them I pled guilty for a reason.
Right.
And like I told it to them when they had that video phone thing in Colorado the day before, like I pled guilty, but I pled guilty for a reason. Like I didn't just, I knew other people were watching. I didn't just go in and just say anything. But, like they seemed to take it and okay.
What
And
made you do that, Chris? What made you plead guilty?
I didn't want anybody else to. I didn't want them to go through this for 2 or 4 years. I didn't want my attorneys to lie for me for 3 or 4 years. Like they would have done anything I told them to do.
Sure.
That's what they're. I don't see how they can do that. Like that's what attorneys do. Like they take their defendant and they say, like, what happened? Okay, we'll go with that story. Like I told them everything I just told you guys, and it's just like they got together. They're like, well, if they ever offered a plea deal, would you ever want it? Like just plead guilty to. I'm like, yeah. I mean, if we can end this, end it. Like I was like in September. I told them that.
Really?
Yeah, they but it was way too early, and prosecution was still doing their investigation, of grabbing evidence and all kinds of stuff, and that wasn't even on the table. So I think it was like around Halloween. I think that's when the prosecution went to Frank and Frankie's house, and it's talking like, if we can end this, would you be open to that? And that's when like the whole death penalty and everything, all that conversation happened. And I guess they were surprised that it would just be over.
Yeah.
And
We were all in shock. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, that was like,
It's like we were going 100 miles an hour and then we just hit a brick wall. Like that's what it felt like for all of us. So I mean, obviously you had more time to
yeah, I mean,
contemplate it than
yeah,
us.
I told John and Kate and Sophia and everybody, Amy, is if we can just stop this, like, I know it's, everybody's telling me to fight this, there's no like, there's like, everybody's saying there's like not enough evidence to such this and that. And I'm just like, no, I'm just like, this needs to end. Like, I don't want people to have to, because for Frank and everybody have to fly back to Colorado every single time and get reminded of this. Like, I'm sure it's never going to go away, but to actually have to come and talk about it, have other people talk about it, have, all 3 of you get on the witness stand and say, what they saw and what they've seen, what they heard on tapes and everything like that. It's just like, I don't want people to live that over and over and over again for years. Like, if I could just end this for everybody, and then like, if there's any closure at all, they could, it could start then instead of like 2022.
Right.
Like, everything. It's like, I know it'd only get worse for everybody.
So did it have anything to do with you not having the death penalty?
No, like, I mean, honestly, like when I was sitting in that cell, I felt like I should die. I mean, I was listening to everybody telling me like, hey, if you do this and this, you can hang yourself in that cell. You could do this and that.
They were like telling you stuff.
You could drown yourself in the toilet if you wanted to put your toilet bowl up or something like that. It was they've been there a bunch of times, and like I was at one point I was listening to them. And I was like, I just felt like maybe there's a different purpose for me somewhere. Maybe it's here. I don't know. Like I prayed to God every day that He would move me away from Colorado, like move me away from like the DOC there, because I just knew like they were saying there was a hit on me. They said if I was going to a DOC in Colorado, like I'd last a week and I'd be dead because of like the gangs and all that kind of stuff. So like I just felt like God moved me here for a reason. And hopefully I can help people that way. But like I didn't want my family, I didn't want Shanan's family, all of our friends, like having to go through that, because after a while I knew it was like this stuff was everywhere, and I knew like all her Thrive friends, everybody, that was just like it was broke that hole in their heart just a little bit bigger every time. I didn't want that. I knew it would have got worse. I didn't want it to get any worse than it already was.
Did you ever think about, well, it could be very believable what I told him. It could be very believable that Shanann did, end the girls. So maybe if I tried to convince people that, maybe if I fought with my attorneys on that, maybe I could lessen it somehow. Did you ever think about that?
Honestly, I never even thought about the story until you guys mentioned it.
Yeah.
No wonder.
I never even thought about it until you guys mentioned it.
So what did you think about it once it got mentioned?
Like I just went with it. I didn't like, I knew my dad was out there. I knew it was like, I knew they would probably believe it because, my mom and my sister just never really liked Shanann. I knew it like, I mean, through all this, like I got letters from some of my friends that even said, when we went to your house, we could see, Shannon was more of a dominant personality and more of like, you're always helping with the kids and everything. Just, you're a great dad and everything. We could see, a couple things that I never saw or, whatnot. And even my best friend Mark can say, there's always, something, I didn't really get with Shanann. I was like, nobody ever told me any of this stuff, but okay. But yeah, I never thought about that story. And, that's what my attorneys were going with. And then like, I think it was probably the second week I told them like what really happened.
What did they say after that?
They were quiet. They were writing it down. They said they wouldn't judge me. So I told them. I told them everything that happened. And they, appreciated like I guess, most of the time, they're dependent or they're, defense don't like tell them actually what happened.
No. Yeah.
They just, tell them, all right, get me out of here. This is what happened. But I told them what happened. I didn't want them going, if this was going to go like anywhere in courts, I didn't want them to be under a false pretense and like get surprised. So I know like there was probably things that you guys probably knew that maybe if I lied to them and just told them, no, this is what happened, that it would have like made them look, foolish and stupid and just like, unprepared. And I was like, this is what happened. And they, they appreciated me telling them that. So now they would be prepared. And that's when they were saying like, if it was ever, if we ever went to them, the prosecution say, if we could end this, would I be open to it? I'm like, if it could end it.
I know there was like, wasn't her phone found on the couch or between the couch cushions? Like, did you plant all that stuff?
Just threw it in there.
You just threw it in
Yeah,
there? Why did you do that?
I don't know what was going on that morning. Like even like, her watch, her phone, like if I was actually like, if I'd planned this, I would probably just take it out to the field and, But,
What about her ring and stuff? What were you thinking about that?
it's like, maybe she actually really wanted a divorce. Maybe she didn't want to fix it. Just put it there on the counter.
She took it off? Or did you take it off?
I took it off.
Okay. Oh, so that would look like she was saying, I want a divorce. I'm leaving it here when I take it off. I see.
So the phone and her watch and the couch, was that morning before you left to go to surgery?
Next, I think Nicole's son found it or something.
Yeah.
What other things did you do that maybe we even missed?
So the phone and watch. Yeah. I think I threw the therapy book she wanted me to read in the trash.
That was that morning?
I think so.
Were you trying to make it look like she threw it in the trash?
I don't know. I just
Oh.
I just didn't think nothing was going to work again. So I didn't know what was going on.
Did you go down to the basement? I thought the basement door opened.
Yeah, the door is open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement. I think it was around 4:26 or something. The garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then of course the living room sensors and all. Do you remember what you were doing all during that time?
You had a lot of steps. I'll just say that.
So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout, the bench press one.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll pick her out that way, or is it a walkout basement?
No.
It wasn't at your house. Okay.
That's like a garden level basement. So.
Okay.
But no, not really. What's that? I don't think it worked out that morning.
Like, were you packing your lunch in the kitchen? Like, did you have to do all that normal stuff? Okay.
I packed lunch and everything. Did all that, but I don't remember about the basement. Unless I just worked out that morning, I just don't remember. I don't think I did.
So one of the more
Unless there was a trash bag down there at that time.
Yeah, you got trash bags from there.
Maybe there wasn't even a garage. No one down there got one.
Do you normally carry a roll of trash bags in your truck?
No.
So there was a hole in the
I
truck.
was, yeah. I mean, maybe I just grabbed it and brought it with me.
That would have been kept in the basement, maybe, or in the garage. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Graham?
one of the more kind of poignant or tender moments in all of this was seeing with your dad when he came in. What was it like when you picked him up at the airport?
It was very strange. It was kind of like I almost knew this was probably the last time I'd ever see him on the outside. In my head, I knew that.
Yeah. What did you guys talk about?
Honestly, like he just wanted to talk about sports. He's like, he's always kind of like, distance himself from like a problem type thing. Like, when like if there's ever an issue or anything like that, he always want to talk about like just bring up like when I was trying to get him to quit smoking like all the time. Like that's after like I graduated high school and whatnot. He would
Are you talking about cigarettes?
yeah.
Okay.
And he would always like just change stuff. Like, oh, you never happened in the race, football or something. I mean, he just never wanted like, you know, he said, okay, yeah, I'll get to it, and he was boom, something else. And you know, I just kind of felt like it was kind of like that, you know, like he asked like a few questions, like, you know, do you know where they're at, and do you think you know where they're at, or anything like that. I just, you know, don't know. And then like start talking about sports and just like normal things. Just kind of, I'm not sure if he maybe knew anything, you know, maybe he kind of figured out something maybe happened, just wanted to talk to me. That's son.
Is it possible he saw that you were in a stressful situation and wanted to do what he always did?
Yeah.
Make things comfortable.
I think that was a good way to put it.
I bet he picked up a lot of that from him.
Yeah, because in stressful situations, like I mean, the gray hair didn't show it, but like I try not to be in stress. But you know, it's like, you know, I worked on cars. There's a lot of stress because it's always, you know, it's on commission. You know, you get paid what you do, not by showing up. So you know, that Darko was a little less stressful. You know, I got paid just to be there. But, you know,
Was your dad's marriage like yours and Shanann's marriage, as far as like your dad was the more passive one and your mom was the
yeah,
more
mom
dominant?
was always the more aggressive one.
Was she like Shanann in a way? I mean, were you attracted to Shanann because she was kind of like how your mom and dad's relationship was, or
It was like, you know, it almost mirrored like her mom and dad's relationship, honestly, because her dad's like my dad. They're both like kind of calm, cool. Like
I could see that, yeah.
mom's very,
Sandy rules that roost.
oh yeah, very, and it's just like, you know, I kind of related it to that
Mhm.
because like her mom always said like she always told Shanann that she would marry somebody else kind of like her dad. I felt like I was kind of like her dad.
Mhm.
I mean, I wasn't like, you know, I couldn't build a lot of things he could, but you know, our personalities were kind of like, you know, I was always so. I think he really liked me the first time he met me because like I was helping Shannon with this. She had got this car from the dealership that she worked at, and she was driving around and felt like, you know, the wheel might fall off. And we pulled over where her dad was, and I was like, I got underneath it, jacked it up, and I was like, you know, trying to fix everything. He's saying like any other guy she'd ever dated would have just like stood by and watched me do it. And so like that's when she really like kind of like me.
Up to you.
It's like I was always wanting to help people, not to hurt anybody.
Well, and you helped her all through her lupus, and you're at the corner house at the beginning, you're jacking up the car.
Yeah, I mean, anytime she had an issue with like car at the 30 South Customs, like I was out to work,
Mhm.
do what I could do with it. You know, I was do whatever I could to help.
Well, and I think one of the reasons Frank and Sandy work so well is because Frank let Sandy be Sandy.
Yeah.
And they probably both saw in you that you let Shanann be Shanann.
Yeah, I just like, you know, I didn't try to change her.
Right.
Like, I just let her be, you know, who she is.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, she's gung ho. She's, you know, she knows what she wants. She's gonna go get it.
Yeah.
And I didn't say, hey, you know, you can't do that. And that's what her first husband.
Yeah.
She controlled everything. He tried to be Sandy. It didn't work. And she turned into almost like me. She was like, she just kind of like laid back and just kind of like let him do what he was doing. And I think she learned after that she can just be herself. And then with me, she can definitely be herself.
Yeah.
So that's how it worked.
So do you think your dad had any inkling? Because I'm trying to remember the timing. He showed up when you were still walking around. You weren't in any trouble yet. Ronnie came in.
Yeah, I had met with you the night before,
Mhm.
like 3 or 4 hours. And then I was at Nick and Amanda's house. And we met there, and that's when I went to go pick him up.
Okay. And you picked him up. It was early that morning, right?
He was like 10:30, I think, when his flight came in.
Okay. And then so from there, you guys probably drove home and then to the police station.
Yep.
And the talks there were no type of confession from you. Okay.
No, it was like he was just gonna wait. I told him like, you know, there's like that barbecue joint down the street. Like, you know, it's good. And was, you know, he told me he never left.
He didn't. I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
He's faithful. He was.
I mean, I don't know how he lasted that long without food.
We ended up giving them food.
Oh, okay.
He was great. And the reason I ask is because when I look back and watch the video, now knowing what I know after talking to you today, I can see how genuine he was. But I just didn't know if you guys had come up with some sort of plan. Okay.
No, we never even talked. I know better than that. If I had told him anything, he would have probably just told me to tell him right away.
I think you're right.
Now, he would have still loved me either way, but he would have told me you need to tell him like right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, I didn't think I was going to be there for 14 or however long it was, like 10 hours or something.
You were there a long time.
Yeah, but it was. He would have told me just to say, just to tell you.
Did you know walking in there that you were going to tell us? Or did you think,
I didn't. I mean, I knew there was a reason you brought me back in. I know. Well, for the.
what'd you think about the polygraph?
That was horrible.
Why'd you say
I
that?
don't know how you do that.
Why do you say that?
Because Tammy's a torturer.
I'm not.
No, like, I mean,
Tell me.
you answered, you asked me questions for like 3 or 4 hours beforehand, and then you could polygraph, and it's like you just break down somebody's brain to where like
Too
it's like
much or what?
Jello, and it's just like I know it's you guys have a job, you have a plan, and that's what you executed it.
So she's thorough, right? There's no way to get out of there without the truth.
No, I mean I kind of knew like because right when you asked me about like Saturday night, when I told your brother walking out, I was like, man, she was like going through it.
Well, we did know, we found out about Nikki right before the polygraph.
I figured that out after with meeting with John and everybody that she had met with somebody from the CBI, like on the 14th or the 15th. I was just like, they were talking. Oh, okay. So you already knew. So, but
I mean, I didn't know how extensive it was, but yes, we knew.
yeah, I mean, walking in there that day, just walking into that room, I knew I wasn't walking out.
Yeah.
Just the feeling I had walking in that room.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I don't remember if the polygraph stuff was already in there. I think it was.
It was, yeah.
But it was, I knew it.
I just feel like sometimes when people, do the bad thing and they stay, like some part of me thinks, well, I think they're here because they really want to tell us what happened. Because it's not normal that you want to keep all that in. Like that just kills people on the inside. And I could tell it was killing you that day.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like that. 13th when I slept in the house, I didn't nothing. I don't think I slept maybe like 2 hours, but I just finally just got so tired I just fell asleep. I had every light on. Nothing felt right.
What were you thinking about during your media interviews?
I didn't want to do it.
Why did you do it? Did you feel like you had to do it?
I felt like, they would have just kept knocking on my door until I answered it. And like, I didn't even set it up, but Nicole Atkinson set it up. She told me, hey, Fox,
Did you want to say that?
she said, Fox is going to be your house at 10:30. Like, what? I'm like, okay. And, I think I even called you about it. Like, what do you recommend that I do? And he's like, it's kind of up to you. Yeah. Like, okay. And I called one of her friends, what should I do? And she said, I probably wouldn't do it, but I just felt like, I don't even want to know what I said, what I looked like on there, because I knew it. Some people said it just made it look even worse after the fact, but
It didn't look good. I mean, obviously we can't say, oh, we knew right then he was lying, but I think we all watched it together and went, this might be bad.
yeah, I mean,
I had that feeling after I watched it. Well, I could kind of see it in your face.
it's like I was just lying to more and more people, and it's just like
Do you have internet access here?
no.
Say don't get into that trap and put it in. Watch
What
all
crap? Oh,
social media trap and all that.
No, they don't let you have social media here yet. Go. I think some of the GP guys are getting like these little like tablets or something that are like the size of like a older iPhone or something.
Mm.
I think they can use like email. But I'm not sure about like social media. No, definitely not social media. But, like, I'm not sure about internet or not. But this place is kind of like a dead zone fire for phones, anyways. I would think.
I don't know. We're getting service, which is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't think we would.
Right here.
Yeah, right in this room.
Maybe this is kind of like a hub of
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the spot.
Yeah. Computer room. You would hope that it had some.
Did you talk to Nikki afterwards? After all this happened?
on 13. 13 and the 14th.
What was that conversation like?
It was the 13th, kind of like, it was more text and then maybe a phone call, like a phone call. And then she thought maybe Shannon like took off with the kids, like just, because I was telling her I didn't know where they were and all that. And then the 14th, she kind of thought something may have happened because they hadn't come back.
Why do you say that she might have thought that?
She kept asking me like some weird questions. Like she kept asking like questions that only I would know, but she was testing to see if like it was actually me on the phone. Like
What do you mean?
like she would ask like, like what's my dog's name, or like what do I like what yoga studio do I go to, or something like that. And she's like, like I'm just answer like and then like another thing, like, I'm not sure if this is you. And it's like, okay.
Is this through text or is this through calls? Oh, okay. So she wasn't hearing your voice. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible she thought you'd been arrested and we were on the phone?
More either Shanann had my phone or somebody else had my phone, or like maybe maybe she thought it was the
Well, hopefully Shanann would know all the answers to those questions, right?
no, this is like Nikki asking me.
Yeah, but if she's asking you your name, your dog, and what yoga studio, and
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Well, maybe she thought, maybe I was with Shanann, that she was just trying to find out who she was.
Mhm.
But yeah, like some of the conversation, like on the 14th, got a little weird. I think that's when she met with CBI or something, or FBI. I'm not sure who she met with first.
So she talked to you after she met with?
Nope.
Oh,
So it's like she had told me like this is the last time you'll probably hear from me. I'm going to stay at my friend Jim's place. All this is all going on. Should not contact her until this is done. She told me to delete everything, and I didn't delete everything. Okay. I'm not sure why I didn't delete everything, but probably helped you guys out a little bit. But
She told you to delete everything?
delete all conversations.
Did she tell you why?
That deleted. I don't think you can ever delete a text message.
we're pretty good at getting deleted text messages.
Did when your dad came in, one of the first things you guys talked about, he said, kind of quietly, I cheated on her, she had something. Your dad didn't know until that time?
No, they had, when I was in North Carolina, I was 6 months. I spent most of the day with my parents and my sister and everybody. They had I had told them like something like, this, I don't think this is gonna work. Like with what happened with the nuts and everything, and they're not being able to see the kids. They're like, this is the first time they talked to me, and pretty much.
Okay, you went 3 weeks or something, right?
Yeah, because Shannon told me to call him while I was at the beach just to smooth everything out. Because she was like, "All right, whatever's going on in your head, you need to fix this." But she didn't want me to. She didn't want the kids to see him. She didn't want to see him. And then, like when I did see him, I'll just say it was after I went and saw my grandmother. She's in a nursing home, and she still wouldn't let me go see my parents or anybody with the kids. So I just told her to leave me there, and my dad come pick me up, and spent the whole day there. I just they were they said they want to see the kid. They just don't know if they could ever just forgive Shan for everything that happened that day. I guess I'm not sure like everything that was said that day when they had that argument, but apparently it was like a knockdown, drag out, like bomb that went on.
Pretty hurtful thing.
Yeah, I guess so. And they just don't know like if they could ever forgive her or not. And I just I never told them about cheating on her. Like they even asked me if it was somebody else.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
They could kind of sense maybe something's going on.
yeah, because I think he was texting me the entire time I was over there. It's like they could kind of see like I was texting somebody, but it was like maybe they kind of knew. Like even like when I was in San Diego talking to my friend Mark, I told him about Nikki, but I didn't tell him like I was going to meet up with her.
Okay.
I told him that I was trying to I should have just told him right then. Maybe that would have. I know maybe he had an instance where there was a girl coming after him, and she was engaged, and he ended up getting with her, and then they were together, and then she cheated on him.
Is this before he was married or during?
It's after. Okay. Like he could have helped me, but I just I never told him the whole thing. That it was a lot further along than I wanted it to be.
That's interesting to think about, right? His dad going to give him some good advice.
Yeah, everybody. Oh, this is my friend Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. When I was in San Diego.
Oh, I got you.
So you think you told Mark about that, hoping that he maybe question you about it, or?
I was because Mark, my best friend. I grew up with him since I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
So he had been married before, and it didn't work out because they were stationed together or something over in Korea. And I should have just came out with the whole story. I just told him there was this girl at work that I've been talking to, but I'm just distancing myself from her.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. I was just letting it exponentially get worse. Right. And if I told him hey, he would have been whoa, man, all right, take a step back and look. Yeah. Right. And don't fall into that trap, being you're going to be alone for 5 weeks. Right. And there's times I wish maybe Shannon didn't have to go away for 5 weeks. Maybe we all just went for 1 week. Yeah, nothing would ever happen.
Yeah.
It's only 5 weeks alone. That's the only reason really that was almost even allowed to happen.
There are quite a few people who would tell us and who do tell us you need to look into Nikki more, Nichol Kessinger, all the way from the extreme end of things being Nikki's the one who ordered to hit it.
Okay, guys, I am actually going to stop this right here. And when we do a part 3 and we come back, we will get into it right where they start talking about NK. I have a few other things I want to show you before we go that I forgot to show before we started watching. So let me move things around. Hold on 1 second. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps us go out into the algorithm. Party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out, and it's really appreciated. This right here is just the intelligence report that they filled out on February 18th, 2019 at approximately 7:45 a.m. is when they arrived to start interviewing Chris. And they went 3 hours. So we've got about another hour before they decide to take a break, and they go away for a little bit. And they go have lunch, and Chris has his lunch and nap and whatever else he does. And then they come back, and this was a synopsis that they wrote on that day. And I thought this would be, after we watch the live, we could go in and look at the synopsis and kind of maybe get an idea of how they believe this interview went. I mean, we can listen to it and get our own opinions about how we feel like it went, but you know, what did Agent Tammy Lee write in her report, right? Thank you so much, Peggy. I've had a lot of fun sitting here and chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit better. And I hope you'll come back for part 3. I hope all of you will come back for part 3. And so I'm going to add this for the end of part 3, or maybe a part 4, and we can read this all out, because I am interested to know how Tammy Lee thought this went, because sometimes I think one thing and I see Tammy Lee thinking and doing some. I don't like Tammy Lee that much. I don't think that she was that great of a detective. I feel like Chris Watts was a rock. I mean, you know, like you could have lured a rock into anything. And I think that she was kind of lazy in her work. She fed Chris stuff. And I just didn't like it. So I would love for it to be able to do that. So I'm going to add that on to the end. And so, you guys, I'm going to get ready to go. Thank you, Puffer. Peggy Thomas, Executive Director of Puffer Corps. That's an interesting name. Thank you, Amanda B. Little known fact, I'm an Amanda too. Nobody knows that about me, but I'm an Amanda also. So I'm going to head out. If nobody has told you this today, I'm telling you this. I love you guys so, so much. And I'll see you next time, okay? Bye, guys.